What is going on, guys? Today we are talking about 9 things that I quit buying to save money, and you can do the same. Hey guys, I'm Bryce with SaneSense.com. If you're new to the channel, we talk about everything personal finance with a special emphasis in real estate investing. I try and put out a new video each and every week with tips and tricks to save you money and make you money. So if you like what you see, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And as always, hit that like button as well because it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. The first thing that I quit buying was drive-through coffee. Now, I was never a big coffee drinker, but it's pretty amazing what I see people get every single morning and bring into the office. I mean, every single day, I've got a coworker who walks in and he's always got, you know, a nice big tall coffee, and that easily costs him $5 a month. $5 a month? No, $5 a day. But with this specific coworker, I told him about these little Keurig cups. I'm sure you've seen them before. But you can buy a Keurig coffee maker, and then you can get these little cups that'll make a full cup of coffee. And I think at Costco or Sam's Club, they're around, I think, 30 cents per cup. So I shared this with my coworker, and the very next day, he went out and bought one of the machines and one of the Keurig cups, and he said he loves them. He loves all the different flavors, he loves the variety, and not to mention, it saves him $4.50 per day. Item number 2 that I quit buying to save money was cable TV. So myself personally, I actually really enjoy watching TV. It's kind of how I de-stress and decompress after a long day. But even with that, I still try to limit myself to 1 hour per day. So if I do stick to that and actually only watch 1 hour per day, then it doesn't make sense to pay for cable TV, which in our area is anywhere from $60 to $80 per month, which is kind of insane. We have 2 streaming subscription services, which is Netflix and Hulu, and total per month, I think that's around $20. You've got to be careful with this because nowadays pretty much every company has their own streaming service. There's YouTube TV, there's Netflix, there's Hulu, Amazon Prime TV, Sling TV, PlayStation Vue TV, DirecTV Now. I think Disney's coming out with their own streaming service. I mean, if you subscribe to every single one of these to get all the channels that you would get previously on cable, then it doesn't save you any money. I think did I list any of those twice? I can't remember. Ultimately, if you can get the same TV shows on 1 or 2 of the streaming services, then by all means cut the cable and just do those. But if you're trying to get all the same channels on all of the different streaming services, it's not gonna save you any money. The best thing to do is just ditch TV altogether and, you know, put your time to something more productive. But even I'm not willing to do that myself, so I just cut back a decent amount and just stick with those 2. And like I said, that saved us $40 to $50 per month. Number 3 is buying new vehicles. I talk about this all the time on the channel. I'll even share a link up here somewhere about kind of probably the dumbest, biggest mistake that I've made with money, and that was purchasing a new car. And it doesn't make sense. In last week's video, I shared how buying a brand new car, you can lose about 40 to 50% of the car's value in just 4 to 5 years. I have a rule where I personally don't let myself buy anything newer than 4 years old. So if it's 2019, then the newest vehicle that I let myself drive is a 2015. But even having said that, you don't need a vehicle that new. I personally believe that the sweet spot is kind of that 5 to 7 year mark. You can get a really great, reliable car for not a lot of money. Item number 4 that I quit buying were extended warranties. So when you buy a new washing machine or some kind of electronic from the store, they always try and push these extended warranties. They say, oh, do you want a 1 year or a 2 year extended warranty? They try to scare you into thinking that if anything happens within that 1 to 2 year time period, you can just use your extended warranty for a little bit extra money and they'll cover the cost and replace it completely free if something were to happen. The question you should probably be asking yourself though is, if this is gonna break in a year or 2, why are you buying it in the first place? The companies who offer extended warranties know that the people who purchase them are never gonna use them. For one thing, either the product will last longer than that 1 to 2 year time frame, or people are just gonna forget that they purchased it in the first place. And if they do remember that they purchased the warranty in the first place, chances are you've misplaced your receipt or you don't keep the paperwork anyway, and so it's no good to you. One time I did buy a brand new stove, and I remember as I was checking out at the store, they were like, "Oh, do you want to buy the 2-year extended warranty plan? It's only another $59.99. So I declined on the extended warranty, and then 18 months after I purchased the new stove, the oven igniter actually went out on the oven. I remember thinking to myself, oh man, I wish I had just bought the extended warranty in the first place, all this would be covered. My roommate at the time, he opened up the stove, pulled out the igniter, scrubbed off a little bit of the carbon deposits, put it back in, and with 10 minutes and a little bit of help from YouTube, we completely fixed the oven and it wasn't a problem again. YouTube has kind of been my saving grace when it comes to fixing cars or pretty much fixing anything. So you save yourself the money and just skip the extended warranty. Item number 5 that I quit buying was incandescent light bulbs. Incandescent light bulbs are pretty much the exact same price, if not just slightly cheaper than the LED counterpart. Over the past 2 years that my wife and I have lived in this house, every time we have a regular light bulb burn out, we immediately just replace it with an LED light bulb, and we've actually noticed a sizable difference in our electric bill just from gradually switching out light bulbs. It used to be the case that the LEDs were 2 to 3 times the price of the incandescent version, and so a lot of people would just skip on that, and myself included, because I could buy 3 light bulbs for the price of 1, and so I would just replace those. I've come to realize that LEDs last a lot longer, and like I said, our electric bill has never been cheaper. Item number 6 is rental car insurance. It's pretty rare that I get a rental car. Most of the time I just use Lyft or Uber if I'm on vacation or in a different town. But if I do need to get a rental car, they always ask if you want rental car insurance. Of course, they go over all of these statistics and they say, well, if you get in an accident and you're not covered and you don't have the insurance, then it's going to cost this much and you could have to replace the whole car, and it's just a scare tactic. Never buy rental car insurance. What a lot of people don't already know is that if you get in an accident in a rental car, your existing car insurance in most cases will cover the accident. Your car insurance follows you with whatever car that you drive, so don't bother paying extra if you're already covered. And let's say you don't have your own car insurance, just get your own car insurance anyway. 1, it's illegal in the United States to not have car insurance, and 2, it could save you thousands if you get in an accident and you're not insured. Don't try to scrimp and save $100 a month on car insurance when you could get in an accident and be liable for thousands. Item number 7 is name brand food. I remember when I was growing up as a kid, I would always go over to my friends' houses and opening, their kitchen cupboards and being like, wow, they've got so much cool food. So then I would always go home and I would ask my mom, why do we get this generic food and they get all the cool stuff? It wasn't until I moved out and was on my own and in charge of buying my own groceries that I realized why my mom never bought name brand groceries. Now, I really like ice cream. I have to stop myself from having more than 1 bowl per day or I'll be in trouble. Now, obviously, if you were to take Ben & Jerry's ice cream and put it right next to Walmart Great Value, side by side, I could easily tell you which one was the cheaper and which one was Ben & Jerry's. But if you were just to give me Great Value ice cream, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference and I would probably still be just as happy. For the most part, my wife and I buy the generic brand of everything because we really can't taste the difference unless it's side by side. Not to mention that oftentimes the generic brand will be less than half of the regular brand. And here's a cool little tip to be aware of when you walk into the grocery store. As you're walking through the aisles and you're looking at all the food up and down the aisles, the most expensive food is going to be right at eye level. If you look above or below that eye level, you're going to find that your name brand stuff is right there in the middle, and your generic foods are either lower or higher than eye level. Of course, they're going to put the more expensive products right in front of you where you can see it and grab it easily. So if you want to save money, look a little bit lower, look a little bit higher, and you should be able to save quite a bit. Item number 8 that I don't let myself purchase are expensive mutual funds. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this because this could be an entire video on its own, but typically speaking, when you talk about expensive mutual funds or ETFs, you're talking about their expense ratio. In my case, I try and avoid anything that has an expense ratio of 1% or higher. Let's take some sample numbers, as we always do, because I'm a nerd and I like running the numbers. Let's say you have two investments, investment A and investment B. Investment A has an expense ratio of 0.04%. Investment B has an expense ratio of 1%. Let's say over the next 30 years, you add an annual contribution of $6,000 to both of these investments. At a 6% annual return over the course of 30 years, investment A has $3,300 in fees, and investment B has $75,000 in fees. That's a difference of $72,000. Now, initially you would think, oh, 1%, that's not a big difference. But over the course of 30 years, that makes a huge difference. Now, I'm by no means affiliated with Vanguard, but I really love Vanguard because typically they have low expense ratios. My personal 401k through work has been through Vanguard, and I've been really pleased with them because their expense ratios are so cheap. So having said that, I'd encourage you to go through and look at your investments, find out what fees they're charging you, and if it's over that 1%, you probably should do something different. Number 9, and the last thing that I won't let myself purchase anymore, are cheap tools. If you ask my wife or anybody who knows me, I really like tools. I like working in the garage, I like building things. And so over the years, I've acquired a decent number of tools. I found that if I purchase the cheaper tools, oftentimes they're gonna break. And if they break, for some reason, I just go and buy the exact same cheap tool again. Sometimes I'll buy it 2 or 3 times before I realize, hey, I probably shouldn't be buying this again. I've since changed my mentality, and I now have a saying that goes like this: buy it once, buy it right. Say I'm looking at 2 power tools side by side. If I have a cheap drill that costs $50 or a different drill that's $250, even though it's 5 times as much, I will oftentimes buy this tool instead because I know I'm only gonna have to buy it once. It's gonna last me 20 or 30 years, whereas if I buy the cheaper one, it's gonna break in 3 to 4. This can be applied to a lot of different things, not just tools. It can be applied to computers or other electronics or furniture, or you name it. I mean, there's a bajillion different things that you could apply it to. But typically speaking, buying the nicer item will actually pay off in the long run. I know that expensive sticker price can actually be a little bit, surprising initially, but in the long run, it'll save you a lot of money. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you're new to this channel, I really appreciate you stopping by. Of course, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below so that you get notified each and every week when we put out new content. If there's something that I missed, be sure to comment down below so that we can share with other people the different things that you've stopped buying to save money in your own life. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.